Wait until tonight. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in my zone right now. Bobby, whoa. Oh. Welcome out there, everybody, to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. You know I got to get into my groove as I do this first, but I don't own the rights to this music. You already know. But I need it to get me through. Alexa, stop. Yes, 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 yes. I have to have that vibe to get me there. And having a good day. What's going on, Big Mac? How you doing?
I cannot complain. I am here.
Yes, 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 ma'am. Well, good to see you, sweetheart. That's number one. Good
Good
to
to
see you.
thank
So
you.
I'm having a good day, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Mhm.
I want to say to the audience, anybody joining us tonight, we missed last Saturday. Sometimes you have to take a little mental health break,
Yeah.
but refreshed, revived, like everybody else, And so I did miss you guys, although it was just one show. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm hoping that you tune in with me tonight and follow me on this journey as we cover another juicy topic here on Real Talk for Real Men. And before we get into it, McMac, how's your week going so far?
I'm glad it's hump day. It's crazy. I don't know about anywhere else, but it's cold here. They're talking about all the weather we supposed to be getting, and I'm just here. I am here.
Wow, wow. We're gonna look like escape it here in Atlanta. It was 73 degrees here today, and I went out and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was stunning. The weather was just fantastic. I hated to come back to work, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
But it looks like we're gonna miss all of that stuff. But we're gonna jump
Mhm.
into it. Hopefully, as usual, we hope to get you some guests to join us.
Mhm.
I posted link into the commentary sections of the show, Real
Mhm.
Talk for Real Men. If you want to join, you're more than welcome. We're not gonna hurt you here. We're gonna handle you light. Even though
Mhm.
sometimes we do heavy topics, we always land softly. I'm gonna always give you a nice soft place to land.
Mhm.
As always, the way we do the show here is that all opinions are welcome. There is no such thing as a wrong opinion. Even when we disagree, we're
Mhm.
not going to do it in a disagreeable way. So
Right.
just know it's a safe place to come on board, share your opinions. If you don't want to come on camera live, please share your points, your questions, your thoughts in the comments. I try to squeeze those in where I can. I welcome any and everybody to come on to the show. So this is being broadcast, on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. It's being broadcast on Facebook and Instagram all at the same time. So you don't have to know me, to get your thoughts in here. So, I'd love to hear everybody's opinion. So I don't claim I know everything. I just introduce these subjects out here so that we can talk about them, and that's what we do. So as always, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this. So if you don't know, we go live every Wednesday and every Saturday from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock is when we do our live shows. I've been derelict in my duties and posting some additional videos, but I'm gonna get back on my grind. But again, every Wednesday, every Saturday night from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we are live with Real Talk for Real Men. So if you haven't been joining, please join the fun, join the conversation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, please like the videos,
Yeah.
share them with other people so that other people can become a part of the conversation. So I ask for you to like, share, and subscribe, tell some
Mhm.
friends, and so with that said, we're going to get into the actual subject. And so hopefully we'll get some people to join in. But if not, McMac, you know how we do this. We talk
Absolutely.
about the things on this show that you and I talk about anyway
Right.
all the time. So in case people are wondering where a lot of times where this stuff comes from, this is just normal conversations I have with my best friend, I have with family members, and it just gets to a point where if it's a topic that we can build upon and bring it to the table in a bigger forum, then that's what we do.
Mhm.
Welcome, Sherry. It's my sister. For y'all don't know, how you doing tonight, sis?
Hey,
We
Sherry, I
can't, we
think you're
can't, we
muted.
can't hear you. Yeah, you're on mute, sis. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
how
we
you
can hear
doing?
I don't know, but I'm good.
Oh,
Tired.
all right. All right. Well, even tired. Thank you for joining, sis. All
you.
right. You got your hair pinned back, which I don't like, but okay. I like your hair flowing. I like that flowing, which is still beautiful. So thank you for joining. And so, until we get some other people on here, let's get into it.
Mhm.
Tonight's topic is tax time parenting.
Mm.
And I've already had one of my viewers ask me, well, what does it mean? What am I talking about? And I didn't answer the person. I said, well, hey, hold your opinion. He said, because I think I know what it is, but I want to see if I got it right.
Mhm.
And you guys know that I like to hear your views as fresh as anybody else. I don't like it to be rehearsed. I like to hear it for the first time so I can process it in real time the same way you guys do. So when we talk about, before I tell you how I came to the subject, because that would explain it, Sherry, I'm gonna start with you. When I say tax time parenting, what does that mean to you?
I think of during tax time, uh, parents that file taxes for kids. During the first of the year or whatever. Tax
Hmm.
time.
Okay. And why do you think I brought this to our forum when we talk about relationships between men and women? So why do you think, if that's what it means to you, why do you think I brought this to the forum?
Because usually, a lot of people are co-parenting, and that's where the problem lies when it comes to filing for kids or who stay with who, different situations like that. And usually, you find a lot of bickering. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to tax time about money and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be about that. You know what I'm saying? And having kids, but unfortunately, that be a lot of people. They get into it over that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Tasha, when you heard this topic, what did it make you think of?
Woo. Those part-time parents that pop up around tax time. This is the only time when, and this is in generalizations. I'm not slapping a label on everybody. They know who they are. They only come around when it's tax time. They're looking, trying to, even though they haven't spent time, done anything with the child any other time of the year, they're looking just to see what they can get out of it. I liken that to the first of the month when that's when you start seeing those half a men that you have just boom, they're just there. What they'll do is they will be around for the good part taxes,
Your
and
your
then
voice your voice is going in and out.
can you hear me better now?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, so then they're there for the beginning of the year, and then when by the time it gets warm and all the money is spent, they're gone again.
Fantastic. Laying out. You guys are both accurate. Spot right on. Hit the nail on the head. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because it was actually appropriate with this being tax time.
Mhm.
Ironically, if you're following the news, and we're not going to get too deep into the politics and religion, we try to stay away from that. But
Mhm.
what is everybody looking forward to right now? We're talking about on a regular basis. We waiting on them stimulus checks. You
Yep.
know, we waiting on tax time. Although we have a new regime in the White House, there's a lot of people still out there hurting. You know, and so on a microeconomic level, I wanted to talk about this because it, believe it or not, is a real phenomenon. Like you said, Tasha, this doesn't apply to everyone. So we're not saying by any means that parents are all derelict in their duties and all men don't take care of their kids or all women are just out there to get money. But let's be realistic. We know that that is a real thing in many cases. That we do know that around this time of year, there really are tax time parents on both sides of the coin now. We know that, as Tasha, you mentioned, a lot of times we think about the men that for the entire year they're free to do whatever they want to, and here we are now at the beginning of the year, and now their daddy's little girl and little man, and I'm there, because I want to play my part and seeing what's available to me, and then you got the mothers on the hand that all year long, we know that a lot of times they're not the best of moms. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They don't give a damn about what these kids are eating, drinking, nourishment. But when it gets to be tax time, all of a sudden you start seeing this mad scramble for who's going to claim this kid, because it means money. And so how does that translate to what we're going to talk about in terms of relationships? I want to talk about tonight, how did it get that? How did it get to here? What do we do about it? And how we can maybe fix some of this? What's up, Carlos? Thank you for joining the show, my brother. Appreciate you as always. And so let's talk about some, for me on a microeconomic level, again, why it was important for me to do it, because I actually have friends who ask those questions about, whether it's fair for the, both parties to share the funds and who deserves the money, who gets credit, because I see it on both sides of the aisle. Now let me state for the record, I'm not a parent, so I'm a single guy. So my opinions are my own. You know how they say on these shows, the views and opinions expressed is expressly your own. They're my own. So I want to state that for the record. That don't mean I'm right. That's just my opinions. But I know what's going on, Shavonna. How you doing, sweetheart? But I want to state on how it affects me on a microeconomic level. Every other weekend here in Atlanta, I go across town and I treat myself to some crab legs. And this past weekend, the Super Bowl was coming, we all know. And I drove about a 45, 50-minute drive across town because, you got to go to the hood when you want to get the real food,
Right.
I don't live in the hood. Yes, I'm a little sedity, but I don't live in the hood. So I had to drive across town to the hood to try to get me some good old crab legs because they fix them right. And I'll be damned if I don't care what time I drive across town. If I try to get there early, get there late, sometimes I'm, there are not too many people in there, but I'll be damned if they done bought all of the Dungeness crab legs up. It's either the welfare moms or the tax time moms, and they always get the good shit. I just can't seem to beat them hoes to get it. So it's affecting me and my ability to get my crab legs. And I'm making fun of this, but on a serious note, we know that we're entering that time when that money is coming. And you're gonna see new vehicles on the road. Me and Tasha talk about this all the time. I live in a gated community, and just this weekend, on my way out the same day, that Saturday morning, I'm driving, and my dumpster is at the very front of my apartment community. And I swear I'm not making this up. There was a beautiful full bedroom set with the dressers and a flat screen TV. And you could tell that everything was in beautiful condition, but somebody was throwing it out. We know that around this time of year, when you get those tax checks, what do tax time parents do, Tasha and Sherry, when they get them tax checks? What is the money really spent on? Somebody tell me.
But it is furniture, it is electronics, it's the latest phone, it's materialistic things, not necessarily needs. It's a lot of wants.
Absolutely. Sherry, would you agree?
I agree.
And so here I am in my little one room abode, and I got enough shit, anyway. And I'm somewhat of a hoarder. I'm a hoarder in a lot of ways.
Right.
But I swear I hesitated for a minute because I really was thinking about throwing this stuff in my car and lugging it upstairs, because it was nothing wrong with it. But the reality was I had to think in that quick moment, I don't have anywhere to put this stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't need I don't need another TV. I don't have another spare bedroom here. I've actually got a bedroom set already in storage, brand new. And but the thought was as I'm driving away, well, wow, and that's kind of where the money goes a lot of times. And so you wonder, like, well, if the money's not going to be spent on the kids, what's the point, right? So I want to ask you guys a question. And before I kind of get into this, because we know that this is the dirty little scene that plays out each and every year. But I want to ask you guys something. I wish I had some guys on here right now. Carlos, if you still in the waiting room, not in the waiting room, in the commentary, I want your opinion, because you're going to represent the guys along with me. And Shavonna, you can answer this as well. But I want to ask you guys a question. We know that in most cases there is a custodial parent, right?
Right.
That has the kids. So I got a question for you guys. Whoever claims that child is likely the custodial parent in most cases, right? Not always, but in most cases. So when that money comes, and let's talk about, for the record, for anybody listening, what kind of money we're talking about. Now I'm not a tax expert or anything like that, but just so you know, there's a lot of interesting things happening, with taxes and the stimulus check and all this stuff going on. What's going on, Kennard?
What's going on, y'all?
We know that right now we're likely to get another $1,400 to equal the $2,000 that they want to give us for stimulus. They're actually raising the amount that they're going to give to children, so that amount is going up. My sister, she made me aware that the last time they gave the stimulus checks, they were excluding people over 17, who were dependents, and now they're being included. So we're talking about a substantial amount of money potentially that could be coming into people's homes when you claim these kids. They even raised the earned income rate up. So we know that in many cases, if you got 2 or 3 kids and you claiming, we're talking $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, coming in to that household. We've already established that in many cases, that money is going towards flat screen TVs, is going towards electronics, the new iPhone, the new Jordans, the new purses, and they damn sure buying a whole lot of crab legs. So they probably spend $700 in crab legs by themselves. So, but I want to ask you guys, when that money comes in, how do you think the money should be divided? You got a custodial parent and a parent who doesn't live there. In your humble opinion, who has claim to the money in your opinion? Anybody?
I feel the custodial parent have claims to the money. And if she feels like the other parent is did enough through the year, then maybe she can give, the parent something if she chooses to. But I think it's her choice.
Okay.
Choice,
Okay. Kennard, I know you're coming in late a little bit, but before I move on to that, I know earlier, you didn't get a chance to give me your views. When you think of tax time parents, what does that make you think about?
I think about back in the day even before I became a parent. Usually tax time parents are really people, whether it's the man or the woman, that comes around looking for some monetary benefits from having kids, whether it's a situation where they are actually keeping the kids, or let's say they got multiple kids. And then let's just say we'll just use the male, for example, because usually the male is the villain in this thing. You have like 3 or 4 kids by a woman, and you're thinking like, well, you got 4 kids. Hell, let me get one of them.
Right.
I'm saying, so they think, because hell, you already claiming 3. So what's me claiming 1? And then the woman or the man, whoever's the bitter person in the situation, is gonna be like, hell no, I'm claiming all of them. F you. You wasn't thinking about that when you out there with that bitch. You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff.
Right.
And that's where all the mess starts. That's where all the Shaquana and the Pookie and Ray Ray stuff starts.
Yep.
Back and forth. Now I will say, for people who have amicable situations where it's not a baby mama, baby daddy situation. It's a baby's father, baby's mother, child's father, child's mother situation.
Right.
Those situations tend to be handled a little bit more amicably, and usually either or are married to where they have no vested interest in trying to claim kids that are outside of their household anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll ask you the question because you're dead on. You right where we're at. So when that money does come in, and for that custodial parents, and I love the fact that you mentioned that in most cases, not always, but in most cases, the man is the villain. When that money comes in, who has legal claim to the money, in your opinion?
I mean, okay, so if the kids are living in whomever's house it is, now I'm going to tell you guys, I did not know what it was like on a day in and day out basis to just take care of children, from a time standpoint to a taking off work to take these jokers to the doctor standpoint, to having to take off to stay at home because they sick. All of these different, circumstantial type deals that the parent who's not there regularly, they don't have to deal with that.
Right.
You shoot them a little money here and there, they're good to go. Or you might keep them for the weekend, they're good to go. But the actual parenting happens from Monday through Sunday. And I'm not going to say legally who deserves what, because I can't determine that. But I do know that whatever monies are allotted to the person that's in-house, I think they need to get the bulk of it, to be honest, because the kids are there. And whether it's the woman or the man, I found out something crazy, man, like 10 years ago, working in the industry that I'm in. I was so brainwashed and propagandized the way, that's probably not even a freaking word, but I was so conditioned that I didn't even know that women were on child support.
Okay.
Until
it's a real thing. No, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I was like,
it's a real thing.
He was like, no.
Okay, hold that for me for a second, because I want you to go on that in my next segment. We're going to talk about why this is a microcosm for even bigger issue. So I'm going to come right back to you. But Tasha, I'll ask you that same question. Who, in your opinion, has legal claims to the funds?
Well, I agree with Sherry and Kennard. If it is the custodial parent who has primary custody, then they should get it. However, if it is one of those where you have joint custody and it's 50-50, whatever is in the agreement of whoever's year is supposed to be claiming, just stick to it. Don't try to make it more difficult than what it has to be. Just whatever's in that agreement. And if it's not in an agreement, this is where you have to be honest and be an adult with yourself. Are you really there for the child more than the other parent? Who has the child more? And is it really just something that you're trying to do because you're trying to come up and stunt for your friends? So that's why, like for me, it just really depends on who has a child more and whatever your agreement is.
Okay. So I think all of us are in agreement. Candace from the candy shop, she said whoever's raising the child. Carlos said a person who has the kids gets the money. And I agree with you guys as well. And that's why I use that word custodial parent. And Kennard really went where I was wanting to go with this, that for that person who's coming along at the end, who's in and out, and even it's like when I say they don't do anything for the child, but I love the fact that Kennard brought up the fact that it's a whole nother ball game when you having to deal with them children on a day-to-day basis, because it's one thing when, and we're gonna stick with the example of the father in many cases being the culprit, and anybody out there listen, I'm not making men the culprit, but let's be realistic about this. If I'm a guy, and in many cases guys have multiple kids by multiple baby mamas, and yet they're living free. And so even if you're a decent dad, where you do pick up little Ray and Pookie here and there, you have a birthday party for them, during a holiday every now and then, you get the kid, that's fantastic. because you're doing what you can to be in that child's life. But as Kennard brought up, and I'm gonna get ready to come back to you, Kennard, that's a whole different ball game than the day-to-day of that parent who's there, who have to rub that kid's stomach when they're sick, take them to doctor's appointments, help them with homework, deal with all kinds of issues, emotional, mental, be the disciplinarian. That's a whole nother ball game. So Kennard, now I want to come back to you because you was getting ready to go where I wanted to delete this, because what we're talking about here to me is a microcosm of a much bigger issue. And so you were saying how you came to realize, hey, it's women also on child support. So go ahead and please finish your point.
Yeah, when I first joined this company, I realized that women are on child support, maybe not necessarily at a statistically high level, but it does happen. And the bad part about it is a lot of times they actually have joint custody, but they're the ones that's being put on child support. So I think that's another thing that we, have to take into account of, and it goes to a bigger issue in the community, to where, especially the Black community, to where the state has a vested interest in all these dysfunctional relationships, to where they're receiving back in tax money for it. And I think if we were able to handle the things in our community the way that, in a amicable, in a respectable kind of way, we can actually keep a lot of those tax dollars in house. And that's some old, now don't get me wrong, that's some old feel good, basically unrealistic type stuff. But if we were really thinking about this thing on a really conscious level and thinking about, well, where we're pooling our dollars because of bitterness, because Tommy done decided that he wants to be with Shaquana instead of Shaquay, you know what I'm saying? Now you mad. Now everybody, now you mad because, everybody, it's all this emotional stuff. And until we can get past the emotional impact of what happens to us, then we won't get ahead. We just won't get ahead.
Okay, very valid points, and that is probably fodder for a whole nother conversation if we talk about where the funds could be divested and spent better. But the point I want to focus on in terms of relationships as it applies to this show is, when I say it's a microcosm of a bigger issue, let's be honest out there. There are a lot of mothers out there who are bearing the brunt of raising these kids,
right,
by themselves. And so when we joke about this and use these funny names, and that's because it's real, and sometimes they're not the best parent, but it is what it is. The card that they draw is, that's what the kids are living with. If you know about anything about apartment rental communities, most of the family apartments, hell, a neighbor that lives right behind me, I wish this bitch would fall down the stairs because I can't stand her. She got a bunch of kids over there, and every now and then, you hear a male voice, I guess when they're having a celebration, 4th of July, then all of a sudden, it's really like it's almost like a plan for a holiday comes, and you hear laughing and talking early, music is loud, then the later it gets to arguing, and before you know it, they get to fight.
Yep.
And it's like a recipe for disaster, and I have to tolerate this bitch with all the messy problems behind me, because their living room is my bedroom wall, But having said that, the bigger issue out here is that there are so many single mothers, that are caught in situations where they have the children. So that's the bigger issue. That's the bigger issue. And so what I want to kind of turn the conversation on a little bit, yes, Shavonna, we got these names, is how, we got here and what we can do about it. Because as I said, so many Black women are finding themselves being the primary caregiver for these children. So I want to talk about a couple of things real quick to establish this. And of course, you guys know I do a lot of research and stuff. There's this, there was a 2010 Pew Research Center report, and it talked about a few things that I found fascinating, and I want to get you guys' take on this. And one of the things the study talked about, it says that there are far more Black women than there are Black men in this country. Would y'all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so right there. And it said it's been that way for some time. Now, this is the part that I found interesting. It says right from age 16 and forward, black women start outnumbering black men. That I didn't know until I thought about it.
Hmm.
It says for whites, get this, that doesn't happen until age 32. Let me repeat that. From age 16 going forward, black women start outnumbering men, but the white women, that doesn't happen until age 32. How do you think that affects what we're talking about here? Anybody?
I think that's true because a lot of our men are incarcerated if they're not gay. So I X that percentage out. So ain't too many left.
Anybody else want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, specifically when you're talking about the microcosms of the bigger issue, that right there is huge. And does it give any reasons why? Does it
It
specifically say?
does.
I want to know what those
It
reasons are. I'm very
does.
curious.
Yeah.
Candace is asking the same thing, and that's why I said if you guys want me to, I will post this article because I thought it was just phenomenal. But it talks about a couple of different reasons. But one of the reasons that I'm going to highlight for here is it talked about, number one, we know that, as you guys mentioned, black men, incarceration, drugs, things of that nature, blah, 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 blah. But then it talks about a dynamic about how black love is under attack because of
Mm.
so many myths out there. And so we're going to get into that. So I'm going to read a little bit more about this. It says black women are the only group of women in America who cannot take for granted that if they seek marriage to a black man, that there will be an ample supply of available men from which to choose. It says this is not even a new problem. It goes back several decades. And then it goes on to talk about all of the issues, even within our black community. You say it's almost like the plight of black women looking for eligible partners is the elephant in the room between issues related to skin color, hair texture, low self-esteem. It's more difficult for black women to talk about it publicly than to draw attention to the problem. And it talks about this is one of the problems that black women suffer in silence about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, not everybody want to be married. I love the fact that it says, to be sure, many of these women lead productive and fulfilling lives without ever marrying. Some even decide to have children without husbands. He said, but a common thread is that for a lot of these black women, that whole married life, that dream is denied to them, and we're going to talk about the fact that how these young girls grow up fantasizing about dating and marrying somebody within their own racial ethnic group. Now, that's where I want to go with this. The myths that we talk about, and there's some stereotypes. What do you think of some of these stereotypes when it comes to black women that are preventing them from being in successful relationships? Anybody?
Well, I think it might start as in the root at the home, because like we was talking on a prior show, a lot of black women, like honestly, white women are taught to go to college, get married, get a house, whatever, have kids. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of black families don't start they daughters off to letting them know, what I'm saying, the same way. I wanted all that. So I
Okay.
got married young. You understand?
Okay.
I got
Now, but what I'm asking now is, what do you think is, because, okay, you accomplished that. But what do you think is some of the myths about black women that are preventing them from finding successful relationships? It don't have to be marriage, because we've already established that there's so many black women raising children by themselves. So what do you think is some of these myths? Welcome, Eric. Welcome, Candace.
That
Myths about black women.
that they're angry, so confrontational, not willing to be submissive, Just a lot of broad generalizations that they want to be the lead, and that they're just not willing to just let the man be the man, which we all know and we've come to know that it's just not true. And then of course on the other side of that, you have what we have, this new era of I'll call them city girls, and that those stereotypes where all they want is someone with money, and that they're not willing to accept anything less than a certain threshold, or someone who earns below a certain amount.
Bravo, Tasha. Bravo.
Mhm.
Bravo. You nailed a lot of it. The reality is, you know what we hear, and I'm a black man, and Eric, I want you to get in here when I bring this up. Kennard, I want him here. Carlos, you out there, my brother, I want your commentary on this as well. The mystery here about black women, you nailed a lot of them, Tasha. Black women are angry. They're overbearing. They're lazy. They're prudish, hypersexual. You know what I'm saying?
Eric.
They can't take a joke, and they're emasculating. And so this is the rap that a lot of black women get. Eric, as a man, speak on this.
Well, I agree with some of the things that you just said, because I have met a lot of black women that now they are masculine. Like I said before, I come from a single parent household, me and my sister, and I've heard her say, plenty of times, I don't need a man for nothing. I pay my own bills. I do this, I do that, by myself. So, and also, I also think it also goes back from how they were raised, because, just like my mom taught my sister, she was like, you can't depend on no man to take care of you. You better go out there and get you a good job and be able to, take care of yourself. So I think how society is right now, it kind of put black women in kind of a bad situation. They don't want to get, I'm sure, everybody want to get married, and be happy and all that. But they also want to have that cushion just in case, this guy, flake out and don't do what he's supposed to do. I can still take care of myself and take care of my family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good, very good points. Candace, I've been saving this point all week to get to you. Oh, okay. So I thought you was about to black it on me. And there's a reason why. You are such a very strong advocate for black women. And so I wanted to hear your take on what you think about this, because those myths that we were talking about as how the world sees black women as so angry and they're lazy, and they emasculate men, and they didn't even say that black women can't even take a joke,
It's funny to me that all of this is being said, but then you have the black girl magic statement, which I don't agree with. We're not magical, but I'll tell you this: we are the most educated group in this country. As for not needing a man, the only reason why I'll say this, a black woman will say this, is because the men in our lives have not proved to be what we were taught that they were supposed to be. So in that sense, we're surviving. We're trying to make it in a society where it is telling us that black men aren't here for you. They want white women, they're in jail, or they're gay. That's the perception that's put out there. But I'll say this, I don't believe that. I believe there are beautiful, strong black men out there that are there for me. I've been married twice. Not to put it out there that, oh, my marriage is wrong, whatever, but I married two black men, two good black men. The first marriage did not work because we met at a very young age, and it just wasn't meant to be. My husband, Kennard, is a strong black man. He knows how to deal with me. As a black woman, I feel like we're all feminine, but we've had to be resilient and strong in situations that we didn't ask to be in, but we just had to do it. So as for us being lazy, I find that very interesting, because we've been doing it, and it goes back to slavery. Mm-hmm. If you look at the black men and black women, we had to watch our black men be tore down because they were stronger than white men. I hate to say it, but they were stronger than white men. And so we had to watch that. And I believe mentally that created the idea that Black men are weak and that Black women are all of a sudden stronger, because once Black men are stripped of their power, who's left to take care of us as a community? Black women. So I think psychologically a lot has happened. I really wish that a lot of us would go to counseling. I don't buy into what the perception is of us as Black people, because I've seen so many beautiful Black people, Black men, Black women, mixed races as well. So I just hate that all of this is put out there when it's the total opposite. But I feel like it's put out there to be divisive. I love my Black men. I love Black women. I'm an advocate for both. So
Bo Dabo, Jack. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add this onto what Candace said. I think another proponent is that right now, all we've been hearing a lot more recently is about not being in monogamous relationships. I talk about it all the time, how everything traditional is under attack. And so when you have a lot of people that are in these relationships, well, you have some men telling their son, don't get married, it's a trap, don't do it. The women, well, no, you just need to get there's something wrong with you. You need to, you're not you're single until you're married. And so you have all of this for that people have to navigate through on top of these stereotypes. And it's sad. It's just really breaking down society. It's very sad.
And can I say this? People hate to see me and my husband out together. You know who's the most bothered by it? White people. They're bothered by the fact that there's a Black couple sitting there. We have our kids. We're just trying to be normal citizens in this society, eat at a restaurant, and it's a problem. And I don't think they want to see a Black family function the right way. But I'll say this, they put it out there that we can't function together. But like I said, I feel like it's divisive. Also with the Black Girl Magic thing, I wanted to talk about that. The reason why I have a problem about the I don't like that term, Black Girl Magic, because for me, it makes us subhuman. Now, I'll say this, we are very good at what we do, but there's nothing magical about what I'm doing. It's just me doing it just like everybody else. And so it creates that whole idea of being subhuman, the whole mammy thing, because remember, mammies were the people that took care of the slave children and just was that person that was always there. And I feel like we are much more than that. So I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I've said that on my show before, but I don't like that.
So that's why I wanted to get your view, because I know you're very pro-Black. You've said many times on this show, and you've definitely said on your show about that. I've always had my own issues when I've heard the term Black Girl Magic, but it wasn't for the reasons that for you, for me. My take on it was I don't have a problem with the term. For me, it was that it neglects the other side of what a lot of Black women are showing, because you hold this show where you put on full display for the world to see that's Black Girl Magic, and you get all these famous people to come out, and you only highlight all of the great things that and the girls that are getting an education and they trying to do this and that, and we are ignoring those that are left behind. Because to your point, not all of them are magic. Some of them might need a little bit of magic to help them along, but they damn sure ain't magic, because I like to encompass the whole picture. Hold on, let me finish, because even though you got queens and princesses, we got some hoes out there too, and hoes got to get acknowledged too.
It neglects our side of having feelings and having people having empathy for us. Yes, we are strong, but we can always be strong.
That's fine. And we're going to get into more of that. But that's why I wanted to bring it up in terms of as the myths as it pertains, because what it's doing is, as you said, when you and your husband are walking down the street and people are seeing you, it's almost like in many cases, like they're looking at an animal or some mythical creature. So Kennard, jump in here real quick. Go ahead.
Now, and I know you were stating that the hoes and all these other folks need to get a little bit of acknowledgement. The fact that the hoes and the thugs are getting such acknowledgement, that's the reason why
That's why I object to the Black Girl Magic show. Say that again.
We see guys in videos that are riding down the street with money in their hands, their pants sagging. They're calling their significant. They're calling women hoes.
We're gonna get to the men, but I'm gonna let you finish. But go ahead. We're gonna get to the men.
Other stuff, and I think the media propaganda of the lower level of our society is being elevated. That's why we're considered, like say me and Eric and Black, we're considered, say, educated lames, because what's glorified in our society are athletes, drug dealers, folks that are getting it the fast way, that can sit somebody in VIP for $2,000 and ain't did shit all day. Until the regular guy that's got a college education, just like black women has gotten a college education, until that guy gets some type of incentive to really represent in the community, it's almost like you want the educated lame to come clean up the bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, and so that's why I'm loving your point.
I'll leave it at that. And
no, I'm loving your point. Eric, did you want to add something? It looked like you had a point. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, yeah, I agree, man. In the black community, it's been like that for a long time. Looking at drug dealers as being, the so-called, the men, because they got the money and the cars and all that type of stuff that looks good on the outside. But when you talk about trying to fix that type of stuff, man, it starts with education, really. In the schools, getting together. I don't even know do they do the Boys and Girls Club in some places anymore. But you get actually just getting with these young kids and showing them that, hey, he's doing this over here, probably in your community, but there's other black people, man, that can do other things, and just show them different, outlets. You don't have to go that route. You can go this route and make your money legally.
Okay, and I'm gonna get into some solutions. I want to come out because I'm gonna come back to that when I get to my solutions. But I just want to highlight again that a part of the problem is when we look at these stereotypes and then we hear about black magic. So I want to talk. I'm only talking from the woman's perspective because Kennard, you made the point that I want to drive home. That if black women are magic and they really are looking for black love and black men, then a lot of it starts with you black women out there in terms of what you perpetuate as valuable, because Kennard made the good point, because all that black girl magic and fine, but what you don't see is them highlighting as a good black man, the guy that's a garbage man, the guy that's a plumber. We don't celebrate, when black men are getting their degrees and getting their education, and so they are picking the track star, the football guy, the guy with the 6-pack of abs. You got these Jason Derulos who flouncing around with his whatever, and he probably got his legs pinned back behind his ears. And so you ignoring the regular guys out there. Yeah, I said it. I did say it. And so I think for black women that I want you guys out there, I'm saying this to you, that when you look at all of the myths that are attached to your name, you're lazy, you're emasculating, you're loud, you're rude, you're all this and things. Start thinking about the image you want to project if you want to attract black men, which now turns me to the myths of black men, because we have our own set of things, brothers, that we have myths about us that I want to address as well. So before I go into this, anybody, what are the myths about black men?
The loud, angry, aggressive, will be beating bitches, all that. No.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
They're all they think about is sex and want to conquer the white woman.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, come on,
They got
Eric.
they got a lot of kids all spread out
Mhm.
all over the world. You know, that's another one. And then a lot of times, you know, they look at it as they always trying to beat a woman out of some money. You know, they don't make as much money as you want to say the white man or even the black woman. You know, they're trying to leech off people. So it's a lot of them.
It's a lot of it. I'm just I'm just gonna list a handful of them. One of the big ones when it comes to black men is that we're lazy.
Mhm.
That one has been perpetuated, from slavery days.
Yeah.
That lazy jigaboo, that black men don't want to work. Yeah, that's an old word there. You know,
Yeah,
one that I still proudly use, but okay.
Only a mixed crowd.
There you go. But that they're lazy, that they won't work. Black men have no education, that they're built to go to jail. They're bound to go to jail. They're criminal,
Right.
that they're not healthy.
Mhm.
That they're not healthy. So, also, like I said, that we're addicted. We have addictions, so this is another reason why, you don't want to look at a black man, and are we only waiting on the other race, interested in other races, particularly white women. And so
Yeah.
these are some of the myths that really interrupt black love from coming together. So you got on the one hand the myths about the black women. Now you got on this other hand what's being perpetuated about us as black men. Think about that, guys.
Mhm.
Kama Dizzy said it's a brainwashing tool. He says that's why they promote those images of pushers, rappers, athletes. So when they see the average man, he's easily dismissed.
Yeah.
That is so true. Kennard, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, did you have another point?
Oh no. Well, the most of the like the perpetuation of black men, if you can relate it back, it's all emotional stuff. It's all emotional stuff. It's all sexual stuff. It's all things that have nothing to do with intellect. You know what I'm saying? Like black men, for the most part, even when we are on an intellectual level, we're always considered an exception. You talk like a white guy. You know what I'm saying? It's always being parallel to our white counterparts. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hell, we live in America and we speak English. And Eric and I'm gonna tell you like a real brief story about Eric and I. Eric and I live in arguably the most rural southern city in Tuskegee, in Alabama. However, we were deeply influenced by Tuskegee University, because if you notice, me and Eric, we come from a country town, 2 or 3 traffic lights, all this other stuff. We articulate very well because Eric and I went to the same church, all this stuff. We made the decision that we weren't going to be like that.
Right.
We weren't going to be country and all this other stuff. Not saying the country is bad, but we were going to put ourselves in a position to where we were men of value. And if you go back to our hometown, you look at the surrounding communities, you don't see that. But in Tuskegee, you see a lot of men and women of value there. That's really a gem in a country town in the Deep South.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. Let me ask the panel a question. So it's clear that we look at these myths on both sides, and then how it relates to these tax time parents, who are dipping in, dipping out, and things of that nature. I got a question. Men and women alike, based on what we're talking about. Do you think it's really true that a good black man is hard to find? Candace, she already said she don't believe that. I want to hear you guys' individual opinion. Sherry, yeah. Let me ask you. Do you really think it's really hard to find a good black man? Is hard to find. How true is that statement?
That's true for me. In New York, it's kind of hard to find a good black man.
Okay.
I'm out there. I mean, and people might, like I said, I'm married, so I'm not out there.
Right.
But, from what I see, I have a daughter. You know what I see? She found. You know what I'm saying? But it is hard to find a good black man.
Okay, so you believe that that statement is true,
Yeah.
that it's really hard out there to find a good black man.
In New York, because
Okay, so you only reference in New York.
because but the reason why I'm saying it like that is because I always travel. One thing I can say.
So then that's eliminate New York. I'm glad you went where I was going with it then. So you only said New York. So what about the rest of the states?
No, you can find good black men in a lot of different
But just
states.
not in New York.
It's hard in New York. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What is it about New York that you think that it's hard to find a good black man?
Because to me, they do too much. They have too much idle time. The reason why I say that like that is because I have traveled in the South. I always travel down South.
Okay.
And I even tell a friend, I think you will find a nice husband in the South. They seem to be more family oriented. But a lot of guys up here in New York, they're not looking for no marriage. They don't want to settle down. You understand?
Very interesting. Very interesting viewpoint.
I have a 31-year-old daughter.
Right.
I've been married for 31 years.
Right.
But from what I see here, I actually say I'll be sorry for a lot of these girls.
In New York.
To what I see they got to pick from.
So I got a question for you before I go to the next person. If what you're saying is true, that in New York it's hard to find a good black man, why are so many women in every other state struggling to find a good black man?
I don't know, because when I come into the South, if I wasn't married, I would have a whole lot of potential. So, because what I noticed, you find more educated. You will find more educated black men.
You think in the South?
Oh, of course.
Anybody disagree with that?
I'll say this. I think at first you need to define what would be considered a good black man, because for me, I might consider good, someone might else think that that's not good. So it's kind of subjective. Now, if you just want to say just overall, just the innate belief that most are good, okay, we can be that naive. But again, it can still be. It depends on each person individually.
Yeah.
Is it hard? Yeah, I can tell you it is hard. Because for me, what I might consider good, Candace might say, no, I don't consider that good. Or what I might consider bad, she might say, no, that's bad. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't consider him a good dude.
Right. I think one of the worst things we can do is one of the worst things I did back in the dating game is having a type. You know what I'm saying? I had this type of woman that I wanted to be with, whether it was light skin, whether it was dark skin or short, whether she had to have a big ass and all this other stuff. And when I started to realize that it's all about the vibration that I put out that's going to attract the type of person that I want to be with. See, the thing is, I listen to this black preacher from back in the 60s. His name is Reverend Ike every morning.
I know Reverend Ike.
And he talks about things like you literally attract who you are. And it's true. When I became a different type of person, I began to attract different types of things, different types of outcomes, different types of behaviors, different types of ways to react. Well, no. Different type of ways to respond instead of react. Okay. And I think what has to happen is, a lot of people, period, just don't want to look in the mirror and say, you know what? The reason why my relationships up to now have been absolutely jacked up, I'm the common denominator. I either leave them or they usually leave me for the same reason every time. And until we acknowledge that part, the good man, the good black man, the good black woman, and I'm going to leave the black woman to go with a white woman, all that other stuff is going to be absolute BS.
Okay. Before I go to you, Eric, I want to read a couple of comments. Dizzy says it's a two-way street because as a man in New York, he said, I always say there are all good women are in the South or the West. So for you saying that there's good women wherever, and so I'm interested, Carmen, for you to answer this question for me based on what my sister said. Would you say you are a good man? Answer that in the commentary section, because now for you saying that, you know, they're good women no matter where they're in the South or West or whatever, but would you consider yourself a good man? Carlos says there are plenty of good black men out here in Memphis, but they are overlooked. You know,
what
they're
do you
overlooked.
consider good? That's what I need to know. What do you consider good? Let's define that first.
Yeah. Okay. So you make a valid point there. So you're right in a sense that that's very subjective. But I guess for purposes of the show, we can agree, I think, on a few simple things when we say good.
Okay.
You know, obviously no woman is going to want to go into a relationship with a man that's a serial cheater. So you're hoping he's loyal.
Right.
We all agree with that?
Yes.
You know, we hoping that the man is gainfully employed. We all agree with that?
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You hope that the man has some kind of morals, right?
Mhm.
We agree with that?
Yes.
You know, as a woman, you're hoping that the man is actually, you know, protective of you as a woman. Will we all agree with that?
Yes.
Right.
Because we're talking about the basic fundamental characteristics that I think we can all agree on is when we say somebody's good. So I like what Kennard said in the sense that we're not talking about types. You know, we're not talking about whether they light skin or dark skin, whether they got good hair or bad hair, you know, but we're talking about the character, you know. So Sherry, would you agree with that?
I agree with
That definition.
Mhm.
So based on that, those characterizations, somebody that's gainfully employed, protective of women, have some morals, not a cheater, you're saying that's hard to find in New York.
Yes.
So that's what she's saying. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
You know, Shavonna threw in another one, believe in God. Now, Shavonna, I purposely left that one out, sweetheart, because I think more and more people are more spiritual than they are religious. Religion has screwed up a lot of people. Now, I believe in God, you know, so I'm a man of faith, believe it or not, with all the cursing and stuff that I do, but I am a man of faith, believe it or not, you know, and I have very strong religious views, believe it or not. But I don't know, Siobhan, if that's one that's in demand. You know, I think in a lot of cases now that's one that a lot of women are looking for somebody that's non-denominational, to be honest with you. So that one's okay. So with that said, Tasha, I hope that we've kind of set some boundaries there for what's a good man. But I agree with what Carlos said in the sense that I want to go overlook your point. Eric, did you have something else you want to add?
Well, yes, I want to add
Go ahead,
this. When you talk about, you know, black men being available, you know, if you look at it from a countrywide standpoint, there are a lot of black men available. But when you start going into socioeconomic status, you're going to look at it like the average educated black man with a bachelor's degree makes what, around $43,000, $44,000, $45,000, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And you know, like you said before, a lot of black women, you know, are educated, you know, have advanced degrees, and be like, okay, you know, Eric could be everything that I want in a man, but you know, he just doesn't make enough money. You know, I'm making $150,000. You know, I can't, you know, go down to a man that's just making $43,000. And then that goes back to what we said with, you know, you have a lot of good brothers that don't have an education that are working like in sanitation and, you know, other like custodial type roles.
Right.
And
So-
bro, you just can't take,
Absolutely.
as an educated black woman, you just can't take the sanitation worker back to homecoming to introduce her to your sorors and all that other stuff. And you tell them what your husband does. Oh, he's a truck driver for US Foods.
Right.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I was like, right, Tasha. I was just
Go
about to
ahead,
say that.
Candace. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say it. I feel like for us, it's not about what you're making and all that, because if it was, y'all wouldn't be blaming us for our baby daddies. So it's like
Right.
catch-22.
I agree.
I
We give a
makes a good
lot of
point.
black
She
men
makes a good
chances.
She makes a good point.
But go ahead, Tasha. I'll
Go ahead,
let you-
Tasha. You make a good
No.
point.
What I was gonna say is okay. So I'll say it like this: my father did not graduate from college. Okay, he graduated from high school, but my stepmother has her master's degree. I mean, and they've been married for over 25 years. Now, granted, I'll say now she is white. I'll say that, but this is the thing. I'll just say for me, I what a man makes that doesn't define if he's good or not.
Right.
For me, it's more it's about his character. But I want to add something else to what I define as a good man. Is he hardworking?
Right.
Does he have ambition? Is he gonna get up and get it and and still do what he feels like is to better himself?
I'm glad you said that because I want to transition that into Karma answered my question, and I want to go right where what you just said. I asked Karma to say, well, what are you a good man? Karma says, I really don't believe in good or bad people. It's only perception. But as far as me being a person that supports, believes in, listens to, and stands up for my woman, yes, I see myself as a great partner.
I agree because
You agree with what part?
I
or
agree
all
with,
of it?
I agree with all of it. There's no such thing as a good or a bad man. It's all about the perception. So what you might see as a good man might not be a good man for me, because I'll say this. Let's take a situation. Say my father sets me up with a man. He thinks this is a good man. He's doing this. I get with him and the man punches me in the face. But that my father never saw that side of him. So it really, to me, it's no such thing as good or bad. It's all about just that person. For me, I'm looking for someone that like in situations like that, or I'm just looking for someone that knows how to react in tough situations. So I'm not going to say Kennard is just this perfect good man. No. And when it came down to it, in a situation that went down, he knew how to react. So I knew that was the person for me. He was strong enough to deal with what was being thrown at him. Okay. So I feel like it's quality versus good or bad.
Okay. Let me get in here, guys, because I don't agree with every part of your statement, Karma. So, Candace, I'm gonna disagree with what you're saying. I do think there's a such thing as good and bad, and I think honestly that's a big part of where the problem comes in, is that we've blurred the lines between good and bad. I personally believe that. I think now we live in a world where up is down and black is white, and we have all these many shades of gray. Now, I like the point you made that you could be with a guy using your scenario and he punches you in the face, but your dad doesn't see that part of him. So no, you can't fault him for what he doesn't know. But I'm sure if dad found out he punched his daughter in the face, that dude coming up missing. If your dad give a damn about you, you know that he coming up missing, because it's gonna be clear at that point that you put your hands on my daughter. But therein lies that where I'm going with this is that I think sometimes when we talk about the perception, is how we're willing to bend the rules and bend the standards because we want to have people conform to what we are looking for. When if we really just had our standard and we had it set, I think we might really find what we're looking for. But what happens, I think, a lot of times is we all do it. We as men, we do it as well. You know what I'm saying? I might have a type, but if our ass is fat, well, I'm gonna let it slide. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really feeling it, but a head game is on point, so I guess I will kind of let that slide. You know what I'm saying? It goes with women as well. Kennard said earlier, I'm not gonna take this dude to the homecoming because he don't have the quality, he don't dress like I want, but if he beat me down correct, I'm gonna keep him on. We bend the standards and bend the rules. So that's where Karma, I'm not gonna agree with you on that part of it, you know, in the sense that I do think there is good and bad. But like Tasha, you always talk about, I think we've gotten so far away from what's traditional until we've blurred the lines. I'm trying to bring on Hannah. We blurred the lines in terms of what's acceptable, and I think that's a big part of the problem. Kennard, go ahead, my brother.
I think a lot of times too, like because I was thinking about the whole father thing, father thinking that this is a good choice for his daughter. If you're a father and you're very perceptive. Like you usually as a father, as a man, you have actually been every type of man almost possible.
Okay.
And I think usually a father that say sets his daughter up with a guy, and if the guy turns out to be a freaking moron, an asshole, and winds up, he sets his daughter up off of false pretenses. He sets his daughter up because, hey, this guy, kind of like the father on Coming to America. The man has money. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's not the pretense that you want to set your daughter up on. Because I'm telling you, I live out here in the world now, and I work with a lot of these guys.
Okay.
And if a lot of these guys come to my doorstep talking about they want to date their daughter, I'll be just like my grandmother that knows how to size a guy up. No, baby, this ain't the one for you.
Can I share something with you?
Yeah.
And I wish in a perfect world that that's how it worked. But I can sit here and tell you, one of my closest buddies. I'm grappling with this situation right now as we speak, Kennard.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna share no names on here.
Okay.
One of my friends is a father. He has daughters and sons. Has a master's degree. 17 years in his professional. Married, stable relationship for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a dog. He was a dog, you know. But having been a dog, he called himself educating his daughters on what to look out for, right?
Mhm.
And what's pulling his hair out is that you would think that with all the stuff he's done and all of the signs he told her to look out for and the pitfalls and the things like that, guess what his daughters do? They go out and pick exactly the wrong guys.
Right.
Yep.
Because here's the thing, what I tell them about, you're a salmon swimming upstream. You're fighting a current that is against you, because for all the beautiful morals and values you're pouring into those kids, when they walk outside your door, my brother,
Yes, sir.
they're being hit and bombarded with the world that's telling them to do the exact opposite.
Uh-huh.
And that's what's killing him, because I'm glad I don't have to experience this. All the nasty, dirty things I've done to somebody's daughter, now somebody doing to his daughter. And it's just killing them. It's tearing them apart. I see the looks on your face, because when you think about it, oh my God, how many windows we done climbed through, how many times we done snuck a girl out, and now somebody's sneaking his daughter out doing those things. And so he want to throw his hands up because where did I go wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Karma.
And
Karma.
that might be a part of it. That might be a part of it.
A big part.
You know, that might be. Hannah, welcome to the show, sweetheart. You know, let me ask you a question to get you right in here with this conversation. The question we're dealing with and grappling with right now, somebody's got some feedback.
Yeah.
That's hurting a little bit. Hannah, let me ask you. Do you think it's really that hard to find a good black man out here now?
Now, yes.
Woo! Come on with
I
it.
mean, I have a good one,
Come on with it.
but I see like what's out here, and it's trifling out here. I have a couple friends of mine who send me messages of what they're getting in like their inboxes. I'm like, this is dating? This is what people are asking you now? Like, no one's courting anymore. No one cares anymore. They're just straight to it and do it. And even if you're not like that, I guess because of social media and they see everything around it, that they think that that's everyone at this point in time, which is women out here who is not into that. But when you see it a lot, you think everyone is like that. So yeah, I do think it's hard. I mean, people do get them. There are good black men out here, and I think that people fail to realize that there are some wonderful black men out here, but sometimes they might not fit in that person's tax bracket, or sometimes they might not be doing what they think they're supposed to do. So they'll overlook that good black man to a no good man. And then when that good black man is taken, then they want to come back and we're like, oh well, no, it's too late. You missed your chance. Just like women do it, just like some men do that, women do the same thing.
Interesting point. Interesting point.
That's true.
Before I move on to address that, I want to make sure Kama came back and said, I understand the point that you're making, but let's look at the example of polygamy. In some parts of the world, it's a way of life. But here in the US, most places it's illegal. So is a polygamous man bad? My answer to you is that no, his character might not be bad. And in that particular arrangement, that may be great for both people. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I believe there is a standard of what is good and what is bad. But to answer your question about that situation, no, you know what? If consenting adults decide that they can handle that scenario, that situation, it might be good for them. You know, now we could sit here and debate whether that's truly healthy or not, because the idea of polygamy, I think from a man's point of view, is great. That I get to share a couple of women, you know, and this and that. Now, I'm proud to say, or unproud, however you want to put it, I've shared women. I've had multiple. I was wide open, you know, in the situations I've done, you know. So I wasn't one that hid anything. I never, comma. I've got friends and relatives on here can tell you how I am. I don't close doors. I don't go in the back to have private conversations. I did everything out in the open. If you was going to deal with me, this is what you was going to get. And so you need to know that I'm going to put you in the rotation. You know, this fat old man that's sitting in front of you, I wasn't always this guy. You know, at one point in time, I had it going on enough that everything was out in the open. And in the sense that, and the thing of it was, when I was young and I didn't think about the consequences, I didn't care about what they thought about it. But what I've learned as I've aged is that, you know, those situations with polygamy where they tell you it's great, emotions, those things really start to matter. It really does matter, because now I firmly believe that sharing somebody, I don't think it's healthy. I think it's wishful thinking, you know. But again, to answer your question, if consenting adults go into that arrangement with their eyes open, have no issue with it. You know, long as you're not hurting old people, kids, you know, animals. If it's consenting adults, hey, you can plug plungers up your behind. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't bother me. You know. So so you know, that's what I'm saying. But Hannah, I want to pick up where you left off, because you and Sherry, y'all both said you really do believe that it's hard to find a good black man out here. I want to share some statistics with you guys. Woo! And it literally changed my way of thinking as I looked into these statistics. You know, did you guys know that in a 2015 Penn Research study, they found that 75% of recently married black men were married to, guess who? Black women. That's actually the norm. And guess what? That number goes up even higher for college educated men and for black people who earn $100,000 or more. So this perception that black men aren't looking for black women, or even when they make a lot of money, they looking for other, that is actually not true. That's actually, but what happens is what we see and what's highlighted and put in front of us too many times is the interracial couples. It's the interracial couples. And this same study talked about, the thing of it was, for Hannah, for Sherry, I want you to hear this part. Black men face what's called the racial penalty simply for being a black man. They called it a racial penalty. And so when we think about it, so Sherry, for you section it off to New York, and Hannah, you here in the South, and you think about it from looking at your friends, it's the perception. It's the perception out here that a black man is really not looking for me. And as soon as he makes a lot of money, he's going to trade me in. The numbers, I have my saying, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. The numbers bear out what Candace talks about, that there really are more Black healthy relationships than we ever want to talk about, but it's just not highlighted. You know why? Because when we turn on our TVs, outside of Michelle and Barack Obama, you know who we don't hear about as often? They don't make the news as often. We don't hear about Denzel and his wife, Spike Lee and his wife. You don't hear about Ice Cube and his wife. But you know who we do hear about? T.I. and his freaky deaky situation. You know what I'm saying?
John Legend and his wife.
John Legend and they freaky deaky situation. You know, Kanye West and his mixed marriage. You know, those are the examples that make the news because, frankly, it's just boring to talk about a couple like Angela Bassett and her husband that have been married for years, raising kids. They don't go out that often. They raise their family. They go home. We don't see that. And so it made me look at things a little differently, that Cherry and Hannah, it really isn't the truth that it's hard to find a Black man. But as we've been talking about in this conversation, we got to get past the myths and we got to get past the perceptions of what's out there. Because guess what? If we are conditioned to tell ourselves that it's not out there, you're not even going to look. And it made me think of it in a different way as well. That, you know what? That brings me to my final point about what do we do about this? So I want to come to you, Eric, first when I ask this first question.
Mm-hmm.
How can we collectively treat our women better? Because let's go back to the beginning of this conversation about the tax time parents, because maybe, just maybe, if we got past the myths and the perceptions and treated our women a little bit better collectively, that's why I put that in there, collectively, that maybe we can kind of turn the tide a little bit. You know, any comments on this, Eric?
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand your question. You know, the myth that we're not collectively, that we're not treating our women right.
No, that's not the myth. The myth is that how there's Black love is not real. That that Black men are good Black men aren't out there. That it's hard to find. So what I'm saying is that maybe if we got past those myths, of the Black woman being lazy and loud and this and that, and the Black man being lazy and oversexed and stuff, that maybe if collectively, because 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys are married, so y'all not looking.
Right.
There's 2 of us on here right now. We're not married. We still hoping to find somebody. So maybe because 2 of these people think that there aren't any that Black men is hard to find.
Right.
You and I are Black men. So what I'm saying is, collectively, maybe if we treat our women better, that maybe that can make a difference. Agree or disagree?
Well, you know, you always want to treat a woman, you know, right. So yeah, I agree with that. And I think if the perception was out there more so that, you know, man, you know, Black men, you know, they really treat, you know, Black women well, you know, you just give them a chance, you know, they're going to work hard, you know, they're going to come home and make sure, you know, the family's taken care of, you know, regardless of, you know, the education, their background. You know, if they have to get out there and hustle and get 2 jobs, a Black man gonna take care of his family. If that perception was out there that, you know, they're hard workers, they're always going to make sure the household is taken care of, I'm sure, you know, it would be more, you know, Black couples, you know, getting together and getting married and just not, you know, hooking up. But just like you said before, you know, it's just so much negativity out there. So, you know, it makes it hard for people to even want to come together and be serious for real. So everybody just like they get in it to just get whatever they want, you know. We just go out and chill, you know, sex it up and that's it, and make, you know, bastard kids, I guess. And
man, good point. And we lost Kennard, And comment Dizzy and Carlos, if you're still out there, comment on this, my brother. But I got you ladies on there. What do you think about that thought? That if we collectively treated women better, then maybe we can change some of those myths. What do you guys think about that?
I'll say this. I don't think y'all treat us wrong. Maybe my experience was different. I come from a family. My mother had 6 brothers and sisters, and 4 of those were brothers. So I saw them treat their wives well. So I knew that there were Black men out there that could treat women well. I went to an HBCU. So I was sitting next to educated Black men. So I knew that it wasn't the narrative that society wanted to put out there. So it was up to me to decide whether or not I was going to date for me or date for what other people was thinking, because all day I can take on the thought process of what other people thought, but I knew what I saw. So I knew that they were educated Black men. I knew they were smart. I knew they were protectors, and I knew they were not afraid of me being a strong Black woman, because a lot of times the Black men that I've dated were attracted to the fact that I was strong, I was assertive, and I knew what I was talking about. And so I just let go of that mindset of what perception wanted, and I went by what I thought. So that is why I've been married twice. Both of the Black men that I've married love me for me, and I continue to be me. And I feel like if we teach our Black children to just be themselves and know that, yes, we work together, we'll be better. Don't feed into what's being put out there. And so it's up to the parents to decide whether or not they want society to raise their child, or they're going to really take the responsibility to raise their children.
Very interesting points. Anybody want to add anything? Sherry?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, like Candace, I agree with that. I want to piggyback on that. Educate, first of all, educating at the basic level in the homes. Everything, change starts at homes. So like Candace said, how you're teaching your children and those lessons that you can, provide to them, just basic care, common courtesy. I'm sorry, I don't buy into this whole simp term. I want a gentleman, so let's get back to teaching those types of things to those kids, those basic skills. Also, fighting those stereotypes. When you see someone who's doing something that would be, I don't know, stereotypical, call them on it. Like, like why? Like why do this? Why perpetuate that stereotype? Let's do this differently. We don't always it doesn't always have to be loud. Let's just, let's learn how to have a whole conversation. But also just treating each other well. It goes both ways, men and women. I think a lot of times it's easy for us to try to, to build up women and to say how men need to treat us. We as women, we have to learn how to treat men too, because they're people and they have their own set of feelings and actions and everything that makes them them. So it's our responsibility also to build up the men.
Okay. Sherry, Hannah, you got anything to add?
I'll say this. So when I say I don't think it's good Black men out there, I'm not saying all Black men are bad. So I don't want people to think that I'm saying that out there. I'm saying, so I was treated bad, my first marriage, horrible, by a Black man who I couldn't be myself. However, I also met a Black man who made me happy to be myself and to let me be me and embrace the person who I am and accept me, flaws and all. So I think that a lot of times it depends on the person. There are wonderful Black men out here. I don't think y'all treat us bad. I'm not going to say that.
No.
I just happen, and the crazy thing is my father encouraged me to marry this man of all things. Of all things. So, you listen to your parents. You're like, okay, my dad knows. We knew him. I knew him since I was 12. So, you think so when you get older, you like,
right?
You're not the same person. So I think it also depends on, I think that sometimes we always try to group men in one category, and there are different types of men out there. There are men who's going to treat you right. There's men who's going to treat you wrong. There are some men who just don't know how to treat you at all. Not that they want to treat you bad. They just don't know how to love or how to treat you right. So all men aren't the same, but as far as, I don't think y'all treat us bad. I think there are some men out there who try to make us feel bad or feel a certain way, but that's not all men. I think that's like not a lot of men. I'm just going to say that, but it is out there. But the ones that are treating us right, yes, we do respect you. We do appreciate it. And I want you guys to keep it up. I don't think that should change at all. But the men who don't know how to treat us right, or the men who don't know how to all, they need to get around a good man, a good black man, maybe a mentor, someone older who can teach them how to be that man to treat a woman correctly.
Okay. Sherry, sis, you want to add anything?
No, just listening.
Okay, so let me give you guys my truth. Because I told you this subject changed me. You know, when I dig into these subjects, I dig into it for real. And so when I say how we can collectively treat women better, I believe that, you know. And when I listen to Hannah, Candace, Tasha, now let me say some things right off the bat. I'm certainly not saying all men are the same way. You know, we know that. I consider myself a pretty good guy, you know, and for a lot of years, I actually used to say that I'm a unicorn. I'm a heterosexual male. I'm educated. I'm articulate, intelligent, clean, self-sufficient. I think I'm pretty charming. Got a good sense of humor, and I could fuck. So I used to say, well, you know what? I'm pretty much a
Almost dropped my
unicorn.
water bottle.
I'm giving y'all some truth. I'm you know, this is real talk. This is real talk. But in examining myself, I treated women bad. What was sad in a sense is that when I was out there doing all my things, you know what I realized? I loved a lot of women more than they loved themselves. So when I hear people say like, "Oh, we don't treat you bad," it makes me sad a little bit because we do, and sometimes you guys don't even realize it. I'm gonna tell y'all a short story. I wanted to find somebody when I first got here, and I was looking for a relationship. This and that, a little short story. So okay, you know, I cooked this, and I cook better than most women. So I cooked this fabulous dinner, and I cooked one of my specialties. You know, uh, fettuccine shrimp pasta. I had my wine all set and prepared a nice salad that was made from scratch, not the pre-made salad. You know, I took time. I was proud of myself, you know, cut up the salad and all this kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. You know, you invite the woman over and she came in and, you know, I got the lights nice and dim and I got the music playing and, you know, candles lit. She wanted no part of that. She wanted to fuck. You know what I'm saying? And my thing was, could care less about all of those good things I had prepared. The reality was she wanted to get down to it. So all of the good things that I would have wanted to do and the good guy, she wasn't going to let me be that. She wanted me to be the other guy. And I've always gotten much further when I was the other guy. The reality is that as much as women say they want to have a good man, laying back and having a great intelligent conversation with them, it never got me anywhere. What gets me a lot further is snatching on them by their hair, slamming them down to the floor, and scuffing up their knees. That's what's always got me a lot further.
That was the women you were dealing with, and I'm gonna say
no, don't cut me off. No, don't cut me. No, because that's the first thing that women want to run to is the women I'm dealing with. There's some reality out there that I'm sorry I'm giving you guys out there, and it made me look at the fact that so when I say collectively we should treat women better, I want to raise my own consciousness and the consciousness of men because there are so many women that are willing to accept the bare minimum of what we give them until you're not requiring the man to give you any more than that. So it comes down to, well, why would I prepare a steak dinner for you when you perfectly fine with eating fucking ramen noodles? And in case anybody wondering, I'll tell this other part of the story. Oh, that's the kind of women you're dealing with. I told this story my whole life. The women who give me trouble is the chick that works in Church's Chicken, the lowly jobs. The women that I'm talking about that didn't require all those things, that is the working woman that's intelligent, that's educated, because the standard has been set so low. So what I'm talking about here is when I say treat our women better, I'm talking about raising the consciousness of how we collectively as men look at Black women. Because guess what, guys? The images that we see, we don't see an educated woman in you, and a married woman in you, and an educated woman. That's not the women that is being perpetuated out there. We see the WAP women. Those are the women we see. Those are the women that's getting attention. So what I'm proposing is that maybe if we raised our level of consciousness and how we collectively, and in case you see scrolling at the bottom of your screen, it says how we. I'm not only talking about men here now. I am also going to talk about that the we included in that is women as well. How you look at yourselves and treat yourselves. Because it's one thing about saying the Black girl magic or whatever, that's a part of it. But guess what? I've had nothing but female friends my whole adult life. And if you think I treat women bad, I take my cues from how some of you treat each other and how you talk about each other behind your backs. I learned all my tricks from women. I ain't no man educated. I had 5 older brothers. My older brothers didn't teach me all these tricks. I've had women friends who gave me the keys to the kingdom of how to get past that. And so again, when I say we collectively raising our conscious level of how we look at Black women, that maybe if we did that, maybe then when it comes to these tax time parents, maybe women can start making some better choices, demanding a lot more, so that Pookie won't only come around during tax time. Because I'm going to answer the question from the beginning. Whose money is it, sweetheart? Listening to me out there, you tax time parents? If you're the custodial parent and you doing all those things every day, day in and day out, and that money come, you don't owe him a goddamn dime. Not a red goddamn cent. Now, I'm not advocating you go out there and buy TVs and new furniture, new purses and stuff like that. Please spend some of the money on the children and leave some of the crab legs for me, but goddamn, you don't owe him nothing. That's your money. That's my little rant. I'm sorry. You know.
Well, I feel like I have the unpopular opinion. I still feel like people allow you to do what you want them to do. It's many facets to us. And let's say this, why not? I know you said people don't see me as whatever, but that's their problem, not mine. I know what I put out there. So if you want to take what one Black woman does and judge her, well, judge all Black women by what she does, that's your problem, not mine. I know what I do. I know what I'm worthy of. And I'm not going to judge any woman for what they do. If they chose to have sex with you for some ramen noodles, that's their choice. Maybe that's all they wanted was the dick. Maybe you wasn't the one that they wanted as the main guy anyway. So that's their choice. Now, when it comes to me locking down who I want to be with, of course, I'm going to move a certain way. But maybe she wasn't moving that way because she didn't want to lock you down. And that's all that it boils down to.
I wish what you said was true. It's just not. It's just not true. Your very first statement you made was that people. No, let me finish. Let me retort. No, and I'm not talking about your personal truth. I'm not talking about your personal journey. So you may be the anomaly because even if you are the anomaly that you got 2 Black marriages and find 2 Black men to treat you fine, but for every one of you, there's 100 Black women that's experiencing something different. Hence why Hannah and Sherry says that it's hard to find Black men, because to your point, you said women are going to allow you to do that's the point I was making with my story, is that even when you want to do something better, so my thing is, I'm not going to continue to cook you a steak dinner when I can fuck for ramen noodles.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's an anomaly because 5 out of the 6 people on here have been married. You've been married yourself. So it's not an anomaly. I think the problem that we run into as women is we think we're this unicorn when we're not. Like nothing we're doing is special and nothing we're doing is any different from any other woman. But society would want you to think that you're a unicorn for making the choices that you make for yourself. So that's my 2 cents on that. If you want to think you're anonymous or an anomaly for having standards to your standards, go ahead, go off. That's
Great
you.
to have standards, but my thing is, for every one of Candace that's married, Hannah that's married, Sherry that's married, we started this conversation at the very beginning. There's 100 women that have multiple kids that don't have a husband, that are only dealing with tax time parents. So you can name them whatever you want to call them, but that's the reality of it. And those women are experienced. I did this show for those women. See, you're not experienced. You don't deal with the tax time parenting, but I did the show for those women that are experiencing the different side of it, that they are dealing with a situation that those fathers are coming in only during tax time. And if you don't think that's a real phenomenon, talk to some of those women. That's a real thing. I didn't make that up. I'm not a tax time dad. When I eat, my whole family full. But there is a real phenomenon out there for women that I did this show because I was asked about it, because there are a lot of women facing that dilemma every single year that, you know what, I feel conflicted because should I have to share my funds with somebody that's stepping in? Oh, and by the way, he got other kids out there as well. That's a reality. So when I say you as an anomaly, I don't mean as an insult, sweetheart. I really don't. You and I both work in education. I'm going to say it a different way, and I tell this story all the time. Because you and I work in education and we surround ourselves with people in education, sometimes we get caught up in this bubble where we think everybody is educated. But Google simply right now, how many people have a bachelor's degree, how many people have a master's degree, the numbers will show you that by and large, we are part of a small fraternity, because the average person don't fit in that bubble, but it's what we surround ourselves with. So when I have this dais up here, I wish that this panel was more reflective of the other people that's watching this, that don't have a marriage that's stable like yours, that do have multiple kids, and that do have that guy that's pressuring them right now because they want part of that money. Those are the people I'm talking about, not to you ladies. So when I say that, I promise you, I don't mean that as an insult, you know, and I love the fact that you wear this so strongly and you are an advocate for Black women. So that is why I said that I think if we collectively, I think with your strong view on uplifting women, and I'm acknowledging how bad I've even treated women. That's for me why it hit me that way, Candace, is the fact that even when I thought I was doing good, I had to take a look at myself and say, but damn, you know, I wasn't treating them so well. You know what I'm saying? And I'm actually a fairly good guy. You know, to be honest with you, at least when they came to my house, it was clean. They got a little bit of liquor out of it. Half the time they got a hot shower out of it. But in many cases, I posted on my site one time, the guy that was laying on a mattress on the floor with a video game sitting next to him, and the caption read, "Somewhere there's 8 women." You know what I'm saying? Because that's the other reality.
Question: what do you say to those women that feel like they sleep with a lot of men, they're being as men, and they sleep with different men, they letting them go? Are they being victimized by the men, or are they in control?
You asking me?
I'm asking you, because they're in control of what they're doing. So let's say if I was a woman.
I love that question.
Well,
I love that question. I want to answer.
I feel like I acted like a man, and so I decided who I slept with from time to time.
Right.
But those men still view me as a woman, and that they're getting their chance with me, and they don't care if they feel like I'm acting like a man. I want to know your thoughts on that.
Oh, because I love that question. And here's the reality of my answer to that question is, you can say you're in control. You can't do what I do. You might think you can, but you can't. You can knock down as many men as you want to and tell yourself that you're in control. But the world we live in the United States, you can't. I can sleep with everybody in this apartment complex. They're going to say that dude in 1537 is a goddamn stud. He knocking them hoes down. You can sleep with 2 dudes in your neighborhood, and they're gonna say that bitch over there is a hoe. So those notches that you putting on your belt, it doesn't translate the same. So all of this false perception, these women thinking that it doesn't go away, baby. It doesn't go away. And so a lot of it's false positive that I'm in control and I'm not saying they're not enjoying it. Sex is enjoyable. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be a sin in many cases. But I'm saying the reality behind it is, you know what? You know how you see those women who have a whole lot of sexual partners and then down the road, then they decide years later they want to get themselves straight. They're fighting then a perception that they always going to be known as, look at how many dudes been through this woman. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But a man I can get on crack right now and be nodding out in the middle of the street for the next 2 years and then clean myself up, and the world gonna say, man, I remember when he was a bum. Man, he cleaned himself up nice. But you can nod out in a club one time, fall out sloppy drunk. Every time you go to that club, they're gonna say, that's that drunk bitch that fell out in the middle of the floor. That's the world we live in. That's the reality we live in.
Mia Khalifa is going
Can
through
I
that
say
right
something
now.
though?
I'm sorry. Yeah, please.
Okay, I think that I feel like if a woman sleep with someone else and the other man doesn't know, then she can still keep her reputation. Also, there are men out here who will get ass hurt if they find out that they're not the only one. Don't think that women are the only ones out here crying and
I
going
don't.
through it.
But you're
Because
talking about a different
it
subject.
is.
But you're
But
talking
I'm
about a
not
different
saying women,
subject.
don't tell the other. If you want to knock them down, that's your business. You don't gotta tell nobody.
So, Hunter, let me answer that part of it too. I personally, I never ask a woman how many sexual partners she had because I don't believe she's gonna tell me the truth. If you told me 5, I'm counting 15.
I don't
Because
know why
in
people
my
ask me
opinion, women don't count miscellaneous dick. Y'all count who y'all liked. You know, you don't count that dick you sucked when you was on vacation and you got a little bit drunk. You don't count the guy that had a small dick and he really wasn't that good, so I'm not gonna count him. You count the
Small
guy
dicks don't
you
count.
count the bingo. So I don't
Wait
never
a
ask
minute.
those
We're not supposed to be
questions.
counting them all? Well, what the hell?
See,
Small dicks don't
so
count.
so I firmly believe
If
women
you
are
can't feel
sexually
it, it
active.
don't count.
Oh,
You guys are proving my point. So that's
I'm
why I
playing.
never
I'm
ask those
playing. I'm
questions. No,
joking. I'm
I
joking.
know, but I don't ask those questions. Honestly, I assume that you are as sexual as I am. Hannah, you getting to know me as a new person. So anybody who knows me know I got 3 rules. If I'm with a woman, look, don't bring me nothing, I won't bring you nothing. So you can fuck somebody else, but protect me. Make him jimmy up. Because if I'm raw dogging you, make him jimmy up. You know what I'm saying? Next, don't get caught. Be smart. Be smart. Be smart. Don't get caught. I expect you to carry yourself as a woman. Don't fuck where you eat. Go somewhere in another town, whatever, and then fuck somebody on my level. If you follow those 3 rules, you can have you a side dude as long as you want to. Because I can't ring your bell all the way. But when you bring that snatch to me, I just want it clean and don't give me nothing. And we can live inside that great lie. I'm okay with it.
But you're okay. Well,
We can
them
live
stepping
inside
out.
that great lie. I'm at a point in my life, I don't have the temperament and the patience to be wondering who you out there with and what you doing. I'm never gonna check your phone.
Yeah.
You know what? But I know how you smell. So if you come to bed and you got a different smell on you, we're gonna have some problems. Now, if I go to itching and scratching, we're gonna have some problems. If I find out that I'm holding down a good job and you sleeping with somebody who ain't got no job and he fucking you in your car and every tooth in his head is gold and his pants are sagging, we're gonna have some problems. All I ask is you to follow those 3 rules. You know, because likely I'm gonna cheat too. I just ain't gonna shit where I eat.
What? In a committed relationship or just a drive-by?
For me, I hope one day I get to a point where I believe I can be monogamous. At this stage of my life, I don't believe I could be monogamous. So my thing is, I would do you the service of I won't cheat in the city we live in. So you ain't gonna never have to run into her. But you know,
Well, in Georgia, that's like surrounding counties still come to Atlanta.
no, I'm just saying that's what I said. But you know, there's Arkansas, there's Tennessee. You know, you go on little trips, you can do your little thing. And again, I'm gonna jimmy up and I'm gonna protect my woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay. We laughing, but I'm being so serious about a lot of this. But I'm trying to get better. I really, you know, on a serious note, I am celibate. I've been celibate for over a year because I have made all those bad decisions and I'm trying to do better. But I am telling you my views because I really do believe that. Maybe that's a part of my psyche that I don't go into it thinking, well, she's the only person sleeping with me. I just don't look at it that way. I think that she's probably getting her some dick somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, baby, please respect me. You know, do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? And have your fun. I can't concern myself with all of that. You know, so that when you come to see me, if it's clean and we having a good time and we treating each other the best we can treat each other, that's all I can ask for at this point. Because I think deep down, people are people. And again, I know that people do shit. I look at it in a very realistic way. You know, that's me. All right. Sherry and Tasha looking at me like I'm crazy, but y'all know how I am, you know, how I feel about this. But I'll close out by saying this last point in all seriousness, that again, it made me look at how I even treated women. And that was why I said what I said in the sense that, you know what? I didn't treat, and I used to say to myself, oh man, I treated women. I really didn't. But to your point, Candace, I treated them with what they asked for. But what made me sad about that was that I wish they had asked for more. Because you know what? I'll end it with this. The women that the woman that I married, and the two other women that's been in my life that I was in love with, they demanded more of me. And that's why they got more of me. Because they demanded more of me. So when I met my wife, she let me get in a few touches and a few kisses, but she was like, that's it. You can't have this. You got to marry me. So I'm like, well, damn it, I guess I got to marry this woman. You know what I'm saying? Then I had another girlfriend that, you know what I'm saying? Her level of, look, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so she set the bar so high until I had to climb up to her level. That's what I'm talking about. So Candace, Hannah, Sherry, Tasha, not every woman out there has y'all level of standards out there, sweetheart. So when I say collectively, whatever y'all got, pass that along to other women. You know what I'm saying? And then when you talk to men, same thing. So that's all I'm saying, you know. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I love that you guys challenge me. Y'all know I'm an opinionated SOB, so that's what I do. All right. So
I respect the honesty.
That's the only way I know how to be. That's the only way I know how to be. Anyway, anybody got any last thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, y'all just don't let me deter y'all from New York. That's just the way I feel.
No, I got you.
I agree because I'm from Philly. We only been down North Carolina since 2019. We just moved down here. So and I worked in New York. I used to work at Penn Station.
Yeah.
So you also think there's no good men in New York? So Hannah, you also think there's no good men in New York?
I worked at Amtrak in New York.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Not good men in New York.
Damn.
It's barbecue in New York. Like black men cursing me out just walking down the street to get lunch in New York. Curse me out. I'm like, I'm at work. I'm in a full work uniform. I'm just trying to get my lunch. And I was married to my other husband at that time. And they was like, F you and your ring. And then I'm like, all I said was I'm married. Like, I wasn't being disrespectful. New York just is a different attitude.
Quickly, Tasha and Candace, do you think there's good men in New York?
I have no opinion on that, but it doesn't sound like it. And from the videos that I've seen overall, it doesn't look like it.
You know what? you know, the two guys you were on the show with, well, one of them, Herman,
Right.
he's from Harlem, and he's a good guy. So
Go Herman. Go Herman.
I'll say
There
this.
are good
Brooklyn
men
ain't-
in New York. There
Brooklyn
are good
not.
men in New York.
We'll say there are, you know, there are good men out there. There's an asterisk next to New York. We'll just put an asterisk next to it.
Wow. Wow.
In Philly.
It's just nothing there.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a
If I didn't
I'm a
live
New
here,
Yorker.
if
And
I
so
didn't
I'm
live
sorry
here-
to my New Yorkers.
I wouldn't be interested in nothing here.
There are
I
that's
feel you, Sherry.
there are
I'm with
definitely
you.
good men in New York City. No difference than it would be down south. It
But
really
that's
is.
because, like you said, like y'all said, it depends on what you're looking for. So I'm just saying,
That part.
for what I see, they ain't trying to settle down.
So by your logic,
No,
your daughter, the guy she's with, he's not a good man.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So she found the one good guy in New York.
Yeah, but he's not, honestly,
She found the one good guy in New York.
Black men.
no, but you know what? He's not black.
Stop it, Tasha. Stop it.
I thought that's what we were talking about was good black men.
He's not
Okay,
black.
you got me on that technicality, but okay.
Brother,
Okay.
Oh, he's not.
I'm gonna end this conversation on that note that there are good men everywhere. I firmly believe that.
I'll agree with
brother,
that. I will
my
agree
daughter's
with
boyfriend is not black. Remember?
Okay, so that's why I say y'all have me on that technicality. I'm sorry, New Yorkers, but anyway, this has been another good episode. You know, we've had some great contrary views. I hope we got something out of it. I love having these conversations with you guys. I appreciate you more than you know. So once again, I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. Please like the show, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe, and please tell other people to subscribe to this. They can be a part of this conversation too. They can hear the lunacy, they can hear the craziness, they can disagree with me, but I will invite you to come here with me on Wednesday nights, Saturday nights. Thank you guys. I love you all for real. Y'all have a great evening.
Good night.
Ready.
That's what's up, brother.
Hey,